This is how you earn respect in San Antonio, as Carter Bryant's answer to a recent interview question has caught everyone's attention, but not just that. His three-point shot is looking smooth, and other clips surfacing from the Spurs facility this summer have just pointed everyone's attention towards Carter Bryant and everything that he is doing right. We got to break down what he just said about his role with the San Antonio Spurs and how it's looking even better than we thought on draft night, and a bunch of other stuff, plus a crazy mock trade that you don't want to miss that involves a pretty significant conference finals MVP. A lot of stuff coming up on this episode of Spurs Digest, but hey, quick reminder, 70% of you still are not subscribed. The number's going up. Really appreciate every single one of you tuning in. But hey, we got news coming every single day, and if you want to stay up to date on everything, this is the spot to be. Let's dive into the first crazy thing here. Now, this is an article linked down below. I included this because I think it's a lot of fun. Do I think it's realistic? No, but I think you guys will enjoy it, so stick around. You guys know I love diving into these crazy mock trades, but the article's linked down below, and it's, well, look, Indiana, something's going on there. Miles Turner left in one of the most shocking moves of the summer as Damian Lillard was waived and stretched to make room for Miles Turner. He leaves the NBA Finals Indiana Pacers, and this dynamic three-team trade idea sends Pascal Siakam to Spurs as the Pacers continue to break things apart. And I just wanted to bring this up because look, the Spurs, there's no secret we need some shooting. There's no secret that we always want to add some incredible talent. Pascal Siakam is like a Kevin Durant light, though it's quite different in a lot of ways. But you know what I mean, right? That kind of guy that can score. He's actually a better off-ball player than anything, even though he was Indiana's leading scorer throughout a lot of the playoffs. But this has the Spurs landing Siakam, but sending out a few first-round picks, Jeremy Sochan and Devin Vassell. So I just wanted to start by saying, look, this exact trade framework, no, throw it out the window. This is not something I'm interested in doing at all, because I don't think landing an older Pascal Siakam, who is already 31 years old, while shipping out our young guys like Sochan and Vassell and first-round picks makes any kind of sense whatsoever. But if we're talking about the framework of a guy that could fit San Antonio, if there's ever a world that the Pacers are blowing it up and Pascal Siakam could become available, I don't mind the idea of Pascal Siakam coming in and kind of replacing the Harrison Barnes type, because honestly, I feel like Pascal Siakam's three-point shooting is the one thing that maybe you'd point to and say, oh, I don't know. But he shot 39% this year. He shot 40% from corner threes. He takes a lot of them, and he makes a lot more than I ever realized. Like, it took Pascal Siakam, even this playoffs, for me to really hone in on his three-point shooting and realize it's not the weakness that I think a lot of people once thought it was. And looking at the Spurs depth chart, we'll get to Carter Bryant in a minute. Oh, I'm so excited for that. But looking at the Spurs depth chart, I mean, he absolutely would be a fantastic fit. He can stretch the floor quite decently, shoot a good clip from three. He can take the ball in his hands in isolation if he needs to. He loves those spin moves, and he is not bad defensively at all. In fact, he's kind of long. He's quick. He's fleet of foot. So a guy like Pascal Siakam actually works very well with the Spurs core. However, again, this kind of trade is absolutely ridiculous. But again, if Indiana or any other team that has a guy with that kind of build, that mold of Pascal Siakam is looking to move on from their guy, looking to blow it out, I don't think it's happening in Indiana. I think, quite honestly, this is all an overreaction from fans looking at the Miles Turner signing and, of course, Tyrese tearing his Achilles. They could blow it up. It would be crazy if they did, though not impossible. But let me know your thoughts on the idea of a Pascal Siakam type player, because, look, again, like I said, that exact mock trade, I think we can all agree there's no chance that's ever happening from San Antonio's side, but I'm always open to exploring different players, different options. You guys know I liked Kevin Durant. I think a lot of you didn't as much. That's fine. You were hearing mentions of Giannis, but a guy like Siakam could make some sense. So leave me your thoughts down below. But I got to dive into one of our young guys, and that is Carter Bryant, because this guy, I have so much respect for him already, and I love every single thing I'm hearing and seeing from Carter Bryant. I mean, you just take a look at this three-point shooting, it looks smooth, right? Don't forget, this guy, when he was in high school, was absolutely dominant as well. These clips surfacing from the Spurs facility, him dunking through that contact, it's really nice. But I want to dive into the first quote I saw from him, and it's pretty cool. He said, I walked into a breakfast. This is similar to what Dylan Harper said, if you guys remember, because I talked about Dylan Harper saying some similar stuff. But I walked into a breakfast. Manu was there. My boy, Manu. You can't really see the jersey, but it's here. And then I saw Timmy D. I saw Coach Popovich. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, that's my whole childhood just standing right in front of me. And these dudes know my name. He's like, they were talking to me. They want me to be here. This is some awesome stuff. So I love this, first of all. Like, again, showing respect to these guys there, saying that's his childhood. Hey, me too. I don't know how I would react if that happened to me. And Carter Bryant's quite younger than me. So, it would be such a surreal feeling. So, not only is he gaining respect for that, it's really the mentality that he has right now heading into Spurs camp, heading into next season, and what his role is going to be. Because, again, you look at the depth chart, ESPN, a little bit disrespectful there. The fourth string PF, the fifth string small forward, though I know Carter Bryant is raw. You don't need to tell me that. I know he has a lot of work to do before he gets to where he wants to be. But if we take a look at this other quote that I have prepared here, he said, one thing I just want to bring is the physicality to this defensive side of the ball. Being able to guard multiple positions, know guys' tendencies, being able to keep them in front of me, guard multiple actions, and make multiple big efforts, I think is a big thing for me. That's awesome, right? The defensive focus from Carter Bryant is there from the outset, right? And again, this sounds awfully familiar to another raw draft pick we made in the same range in Kawhi Leonard. I know he's getting these comparables. It's almost impossible to say he's going to live up to that Kawhi Leonard status. Hopefully not the, other side of it where he left San Antonio, but I'll stop talking about him for now. But look, you hear those comparisons for Carter Bryant for one reason or another. At least they say he is, if there's going to be a Kawhi from this draft, it's him. Regardless, moving on from that is this final thing. He said, everybody wants to score the ball, but how do I separate myself? How do I get those early minutes? How do I find myself on the floor? I think defense. And look, I know we can say the Spurs have the problem. Look, we need shooting. We need shooting. We need shooting. We need shooting. We hear it every single day. I completely agree. But this is the long-term thing. And like I've seen people say that I completely agree with, defense, like shooting can get you on the floor, defense keeps you there. If you can have elite level defense, that's something that is more rare than someone who can shoot the ball at a decent clip. Yeah, I mean, obviously we'd love him to be an elite shooter, but that's not what you drafted him for. Despite his good three-point percentage, honestly, I know he didn't play a ton when he was there at Arizona, but 37% from three in college on the volume he got. Honestly, sometimes the higher three-point percentage, when you don't get into the rhythm as much, you don't get as many minutes, you don't get as many shot attempts, if your three-point percentage is high enough on a decent enough sample size, though not shooting a ton every game, to me that's honestly impressive. Coming in cold, for those of you that play, like, unless you're a really, really good shooter, if you're coming in cold and you can still hit those threes and you don't need to get rolling, that's an impressive skill set in and of itself. And look, we know the other upside that he brings, the incredible defensive upside, the incredible hustle, but to have him come in and say this is like, so much respect right away. This guy's mindset is exactly what you want to see from the San Antonio Spurs. And like, Pop would have loved to coach this guy. I'm seeing that sentiment echoed online as well. I'm sure Pop has been talking to him. I'm sure all these other guys have been talking to him, but everything he's doing and saying for how he wants to make this team get on the floor, contribute, is exactly perfect. And you can never have too much defense. Again, we do have great defensive players, of course, like Wemby, of course, like Jeremy Sochan, and Luke Cornett now coming in off the bench, who's really solid defensively. Dylan Harper should have decent upside. That wing kind of three-man defense, who can play the three, who can play the four, you can guard kind of 1 through 5. That is exceptionally rare in the NBA, especially when you pair it with a guy that projects as a decent shooter, right? So he immediately has gained my respect. I already had it for him because I really liked him as a prospect. But to see what he's been doing this offseason, to hear what he is saying, I think he's gained all of your respect, all of the Spurs brass's respect. If he didn't already do it before the draft, he has now. And I'm beyond excited to see what he can do in the league with this mindset and with his skill set and athleticism. It's going to be incredibly exciting. But leave me your thoughts down below on Carter Bryant and on the fun mock trade we shared earlier, because it's kind of insane. But look, that'll do it for this episode of Spurs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for tuning in every single day. We're on the road to 10,000. I know we're pretty far from it right now, but every single one of you that enjoys the content and hits the free button down below, hey, it means the world. I've been your host, Josh Gosse, and I'll catch you in the next one.